Hey, the better rifle. Drop the gun. Oh shit. I'm hit. I'm okay. I'm okay. But not gonna die.
Yeah, being an IA is like, so when you, as an officer, you walk into some public place and you get the same joke you've heard 10,000 times.
Yeah,
Or you
I
walk
didn't do
in
it.
and the guy's like, I didn't do it. Or he points at his friends like, it was him,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay. And like, you're at work in your uniform, so you can't like be a dick. So you have to like okay, and so you just can't go along with it.
I'll take the number 6.
So the funny thing is, being an IA is like that exact same experience, only now it's your friends who have had that happen to them 10,000 times doing it to you.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of it too, because I used to do it myself. But like I like walk into the department and someone sees me and they go, it wasn't me. And like, oh, it was him. And like, and I think like, yeah, I used to make that joke too. How stupid is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, next time I see you at work.
Yeah. So I deserve it. But I'm just like, I'm like thinking to myself, you realize like, that joke is annoying to you, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's why we do it.
Yeah, maybe.
To be honest with you, we suffer. Misery loves company.
Yeah. So, all right. Can we start whenever?
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's see. It's make it comfortable.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So for our first guest today, we have Brandon. He's a police officer in California. Brandon, can you start off by telling us a little about yourself? How long you been an officer?
Yeah, been a cop since 2018, about 6 years.
Okay.
Before that, I worked in the oil business for about 9, and then before that, I just struggled in high school. So
yeah. Okay. So as an officer, what do you do now? Where are you assigned?
My primary, I work in the traffic division. Commercial enforcement.
There you go.
Yeah. The joke, the CEO.
Yeah.
And assigned to the SWAT team for the department since I think June of 21.
Okay. So you've been on the SWAT team about 3 years.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And you did a stint outside of California and Wyoming for.
I did. Yeah, I had a walkabout.
Yeah.
It lasted about less than 6 months.
Yeah, and then you realized you hated freedom.
Yeah. Someone convinced me to come back.
Yeah, that guy.
that guy. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Well, I was wondering if you could tell us some of your blunders that you've had.
Had a few.
And quite a few, I'm sure, as we all have.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about the time you were involved in a pretty serious traffic collision, and what was the deal with that?
Yeah. So this would have been December of 2019. So
you're pretty new.
Really new.
Yeah.
I think I was off probation by about 3 months.
Yeah. And so probation is like after you graduate the academy, you have 1 year of probation. So you've been off for 3 months. You've been an actual officer for like 15 months.
Yeah.
And
I was riding, lucky enough to be able to ride 2-man with one of my academy mates.
Mm-hmm.
And
you let him drive.
I let him drive.
Yeah.
We had the Crown Vics back then.
Yeah.
We were the last group to get those. It was fun.
Those things are like a rocket ship. They got really good acceleration, but really kind of poor handling.
Yeah, I'll agree to that.
Yeah, not cornering very well, but
corner well.
Yeah.
No, we were paired up together, which was cool because we went through the academy together and had a few FTO shifts together. So we shared some blood, sweat, and tears. So this is cool. This is what we work toward, and we're riding around together.
Yeah, like Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were assigned into a zone. It was a night shift. We were working a midnight shift. We were the only car assigned to that zone, so we knew it was going to be busy. We just got lunch, and we were parked up at a college in our zone, and a 245 or assault with a deadly weapon call came out in the zone just south of us, but we were pretty close to the border. So, and being young cops full of it all, we're going to go.
You're going to get there.
We're going to get there, and we're going to try to be the first ones there.
Yeah.
So we get on the freeway. As we're getting on the freeway, we both put our seatbelts on, which was good.
Smart.
That's going to come into play later.
Smart.
Yeah. And as we get on the freeway, another unit starts pulling up before us and starts. Well, let me back up. Before the first unit goes on scene, it's advised over the radio that the victims, that is actually going to be a homicide. And we were advised the victims were going to be kids, juveniles. So now we really need to get there.
Yeah, so you're in a hurry.
We're in a hurry. And the first unit gets there, and they're kind of wading through the chaos. There's just tons of people there. And they're calling out, hey, this car's leaving, but there's only 2 of them, so they can't be stopping the cars because they're going to try to preserve life. And I recognized one of the cars that they called out, leaving from a call a week or 2 prior where we jammed up some gangsters and got some guns. And, so I get on the computer and I'm trying to recall that call so I can get the license plate and the RO, and at least maybe we'll have a lead. And as my face is in the computer, I feel the car go sideways. We're on the freeway at this point.
Yeah,
car goes sideways, and that's not good.
Yeah.
So
no.
I look up. It had barely just started raining, and we're going sideways now. I don't know how fast we're going, but we're in Crown Vic, so we're
moving pretty quick.
Yeah. We were probably approaching Mach speed. I'm not sure what that was. And the car goes sideways, and then we strike the shoulder, which was like this, I don't know, 45-degree embankment,
full of ice plant.
Yeah. Which started the rolling.
Yeah.
And we started rolling, kicked back into the freeway, and rolled a whole bunch of times. The CHP report said it was 9, but I remember 4. So either they can't count or I got knocked out. I don't know what it was. Maybe both. And the car comes to rest on its roof. Yeah. And we slide for what seems like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And finally comes to an end. And obviously, like, we had been rolling, so that'll come into play here in just a moment. But my head was smacking everything in there, and shotgun rack, the seatbelt holder, the computer got dislodged and launched out the window. Yeah. So when we come to rest, I'm pretty banged up, and my partner's like really banged up.
And you guys both got seatbelts.
We had seatbelts on.
See, so I remember years ago, a senior officer telling me once that he doesn't wear a seatbelt because he'd rather be thrown from the fire wreckage than trapped inside of it. I don't think that's a good strategy most of the time, but
I wouldn't recommend it.
Sorry,
but,
sorry, keep going.
Yeah. So we're upside down, and I have to take my seatbelt off. I hit the ground. My partner's snoring. Mm-hmm. I try to get on the radio best I could, like, hey, here we are, and nothing's working. And I picked up, and the radio had got severed off. So I need to use my handheld. So I crawl out and get on there, like, hey, send some people over here.
Yeah, and you guys are in the middle of the freeway.
In the middle of the freeway.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
Yeah, lights are off now.
Middle of the night.
Middle of the night.
No drunk people on the freeway in the middle of the night.
No, not here. So luckily, we weren't the only ones going to this homicide. Yeah. There was an ambulance behind us also heading there.
Oh, good.
And then they see this happen to us, and like, well, I guess we'll stop.
Oh.
So as I crawl out, and hey, send some help this way too, please.
Yeah.
They pull my partner out of the car, and he's much more banged up than I am. Like, so they're working on him. I'm kind of laying in the ice plant trying to take some stuff off, but I don't really know what the hell just happened. So I'm kind of, watching them work on him. And I think that was more traumatic than the crash itself.
Yeah.
Finally, the second ambulance shows up, and I think that's the one that works on me. And here's where I made a mistake, is they come up to me, they've got their bag, their stretcher, and they've got all their stuff, and that I'm thankful for. And they said, what hurts? And previously I had tried to stand up, and once I got about almost there, my left leg gave out and I fell down. Well, as I said, well, my left ankle really hurts.
Yeah.
And my head kind of hurts.
Yeah.
Not meaning I had a concussion, but I just smacked it on every piece of hardware in the car.
Yeah. So everything between ankle and head
hurt.
Okay.
Yeah. And they took that as like, oh, this guy probably has a broken spine, neck, vertebrae, whatever. Yeah. So I'm kind of sitting up. They lay me flat, and they pull out the trauma shears.
Yeah.
And they start from my boots. And I remember trying to tell them, like, hey, my boots are side zip. You can just zip them off.
Yeah.
And they cut the laces.
Yeah.
And they're coming up my pants.
Yeah.
And I remember I was super proud. I had an underbelt on
Mhm.
that I back then I spent it was like $90.
Wow.
And I was like, this thing's so, and it was nice. I still wear it to this day
Yeah.
on patrol. Good quality, and they're coming for it, and I'm trying to get gun melt off it. And I just got it off in time.
Right as the shears come
The
through.
shears,
Yeah.
the shears, they come up, and when I say they cut everything off me, I mean everything. They cut my pants, they cut my boxers, they cut my shirt,
Yeah.
they cut my ballistic vest, they cut everything off me. And I guess just left it there. And then they were kind enough to put a neck brace on me.
Yeah.
So
Wait, what month was this? December?
This was December.
Oh, okay.
It's cold.
A little bit of rain too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So now you're naked on the side of the freeway.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. 100%. So they put a neck brace on me because they think got a concussion or broken neck or whatever.
Yeah.
And I assume they're still working on my buddy. Kind of gets fuzzy in here for me, but they load me in the ambulance, and thankfully or not thankfully, I'm not too sure that by this time a bunch of cops are there.
Yeah.
They put Officer Dan in there with me.
Yeah.
So Officer Dan's riding with me, and they're starting. I can't remember if they gave me the fentanyl in the ambulance or when I got there. But at some point I got.
Yeah, at some point you took a ride.
I took a second ride.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm just wearing a neck brace, and we're en route to the hospital, which wasn't that far from where we crashed. But they were kind paramedics. They put a paper blanket over me because they know
hey, modesty.
Yeah.
We
don't want to make anyone jealous.
Yeah.
It was just something that wouldn't have happened. So at the hospital we go to, the ambulances, they back into where the emergency room door opens. And like I said, I don't remember the sequence if it was. Anyways, when they opened the back of the ambulance and they wheeled me out, it was December. It's winter. It just started raining.
Chilly.
And it was windy.
You don't got to qualify it. We understand.
Yeah. Yeah. And that paper blanket that they had blessed me with blew off.
Yeah, because when they open the doors, right, the fly stopper kicks on.
Yep. Oh, yeah. The fly. Yeah. So who knows if it was a fly stopper or the environment. Anyways, that paper blanket was gone.
Yeah.
But they're still thinking that I'm going to die, so they're not going to chase that down.
No.
They wheel me right into the ER.
Dick first. Just into the ER.
Yeah. I'm just wearing a neck brace. And
At least you had some coverage.
Yeah. Everything's to show, and just right in there and straight into the ER. And this is also the hospital that we bring our arrestees.
We spent a lot of time there.
A lot of time. Yeah. So that was interesting. And back to the fentanyl portion, it was unfortunate because they give me a bunch of fentanyl, and then the chief of police shows up.
Mm-hmm.
This is a pretty serious thing.
Did you have a paper blanket back on by this time?
I had, I think, a real blanket.
Oh, good. Okay. At least they got one before the chief got there.
Yeah. I didn't want that in the blue review. That would have been terrible. But I was talking to the chief after pumped full of
fentanyl.
Not fun. It was fun for me.
Yeah. It's a good ride.
Waking the wife up and all that stuff. But
then you got recognized at the hospital later on, right?
Yeah. So I mean, there's a positive side of the story. I made a full recovery. I had a surgery and all that stuff. I was off work for the crash was in December, and I think I came back on the streets in July or August. Yeah. But anyways, when I came back, I got put into the traffic unit. So the new guys in the traffic unit go straight to night shift. Yeah. And you're just scooping up DUIs all night long. And sometimes if you have an arrestee that needs a blood draw, you would take them to the same hospital that I got taken to. So here I am.
Same staff, everything.
Same staff. Yeah, because kind of like cops, nurses, if you're a night worker, you're going to stay on nights. And it's just how it works. So I don't remember any of the nurses that night, but apparently one remembered me. Yeah. So I go walking this guy in there. He's in handcuffs, and he's probably, telling everybody where to go and how to get there. Yeah. Drunk, belligerent. And I'm walking in by the nurse's station, and one stops and looks at me, and she goes, Hey, weren't you the officer that was in that crash a while ago? And I was like, nope. Wasn't me.
It was December. It was cold out. Okay.
Yeah. Wasn't me, but heard they keep it real cold in the ambulance. The germs don't spread. So yeah, that was my happy ending to that
Nice,
story.
nice.
Terrible
yeah,
event,
yeah.
but you gotta find the humor in it.
Well, and just so everybody knows, your partner turned out mostly okay.
He turned out fine. He actually beat me back to the job,
Yeah.
which was good. So yeah,
Good.
yeah. No hard feelings. We're still
Very
friends.
close friends. Yeah, still good friends. Yeah. Just he doesn't get to drive anymore.
You know, I we tempted fate and got back in a car together.
Really?
Yeah. That was my form of getting
Yeah.
past it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. In fact, we waited a calendar year, and that night we worked some overtime together. And we're gonna do this again.
Stay off the freeway.
Yeah.
You had another funny one. You arrested a DUI that I wanted you to tell us about. Tell us about the DUI handcuffing scenario.
Yeah. We so at this point in my career, I'm in the traffic unit, and I'm a nighttime traffic car, and our agency, patrolmen, they don't handle DUIs or crashes. If they stumble upon it, they're call the traffic
They call
unit.
a traffic officer.
Yeah, we're like underpaid CHP officers.
Yeah.
We just show up and take the
traffic, clean up the mess.
Yeah. So this particular night, if I remember correctly, a gal, we'll just call her Miss T.
Mm-hmm.
She ran into a parked car, which is a clue.
Yeah.
At nighttime.
It's an indicator.
Yeah. She had ran into a car, and patrol stumbled upon it, and called me and another traffic officer. So we get there, and Miss T was talking to her about the collision, and she started exhibiting what you would call some objective signs of being under the influence of alcohol.
Pity the fool.
Yeah. Yeah. So she, just obviously had too much to drink to safely drive. So we start going down that path, and it was determined that my traffic partner would handle the collision. I'll do the DUI, and we'll be good.
Yeah, split the work. Yeah.
And she was at first she was going along with the program. She was answering every question. She was being very polite.
Mm-hmm. She
She was a bigger girl. She was bigger than me.
Yeah.
And she multiple occasions informed me that she used to wrestle.
Yeah.
That was her quote, not mine. And thinking, well, I'm glad you're real nice, because I don't want to wrestle with you.
Yeah.
So we go down the path of SFSTs, and she doesn't do too hot, and it comes time to provide some breath, and the first breath you provide is voluntary, and I explained that to her, and she's like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. I'm like, wow, this is going really good. So I get my little breath machine, and she provides a breath, and it was well over 0.08, which I don't remember what it was, but it was well over. So at that time I tell her, like, sorry, you're under arrest for DUI. And that's when things started to change.
Yeah.
She didn't
like you anymore.
She didn't care for that.
No.
But in my mind, I'm thinking, like, the jig is up. You know what I mean? Like, there's no more hiding. Like, I have scientific proof that, and I showed it to her, hey, you're over 08, and like, dang, but let's get this over with. But she didn't think that way.
She didn't think it's time to accept responsibility for her actions.
Absolutely. She did not hold herself accountable. Yeah. And it started to spiral. So I'm asking, I'm letting her know, like, hey, you got some options here. We can do a blood draw. We can do 2 more breaths. Yeah. And get on your way. It's a misdemeanor. It's California. You're going to be in jail.
Yet, right?
She's not in handcuffs yet.
Okay. So she's bigger than you, and she's got some wrestling experience.
And I'm starting to believe her.
And she's drunk, and now she doesn't want to go with it.
She doesn't want to go with the program.
Good.
So we get to an impasse, if you will, and she's not choosing anything, and nope, we're not going to go.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So at that point, we would put them in handcuffs, take them up to the hospital.
Yeah.
Same hospital we just talked about. Yeah. And
hope we don't get recognized.
Yeah. While I walk in there, if I was wearing a beanie, it'd be real low. Yeah. Take an extra sock with me.
Yeah.
But we're going to take her up there and do a blood draw, and hopefully they go with the program. If they don't, you write a warrant and the whole 9 yards. So it takes a little bit to get her into handcuffs, but we don't use force. It's more of like a couple of us just hold her, and she's being verbal with us, but at this point she's not being too physical. She's just tensing up a little bit, but we don't dump her or nothing.
She didn't start wrestling yet.
No. No. So we get her in handcuffs, and I get her in the back of my car, and I ask for some help. Like, hey, up at the hospital, like, getting blood out of her might be a chore.
Yeah.
So let's send a couple of dudes up there.
Yeah.
And on the way up there, she starts, as time goes on in this call, the angrier she gets.
Yeah.
So the closer we get to the hospital, she's now like screaming at me. I mean, it sounds like I have schizophrenia. The voices in my head, she just will not be quiet.
Yeah.
Telling me where to go, how to get there. I'm
Yeah.
terrible. All the racial names and just letting me have it.
Yeah.
So we get to the hospital.
The henny's starting to wear off.
What's that?
The henny's starting to wear off.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely. So we get to the hospital, and it's obvious to me, like, oh, this is going to be a warrant. So I write a warrant. Judge was gracious enough to sign it. So now I have an order from a judge, like, you will take this woman's blood, and bring it before me. Okay. So we get her in the hospital, and she starts going crazy, if you will.
Yeah.
Tries to pee on us.
Mm-hmm.
She successfully pees, but unsuccessfully pees on us.
So did she like lift herself out of the seat? And
Yeah, she's in a wheelchair. Not because she needed one, but she refused to walk.
Yeah.
So we had to get her in there
So
somehow.
she aimed it at you, or?
She's still wearing sweatpants. So there was like a splash
Little
barrier.
filter, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't very successful. I mean, she gave it the college try, and it didn't get much past the seat of the wheelchair. Yeah. So now we have a hazardous situation in there.
Yeah. But that smelled great.
Yeah. Yeah. So we start getting the blood draw, and now she's starting to wrestle with us.
Okay.
And
but she's in handcuffs.
She's in handcuffs still. She's in handcuffs, and at this point we do have to use a minimal amount of force and what we call control holds. We hold her down, and mostly by the arms, nowhere vital, and the nurse gets her blood, and we put her back in the wheelchair, and she starts complaining about some pain. So I'm like, well, I'm going to follow policy, and I'm going to call a sergeant.
Yeah.
So a sergeant gets there and does her interview with Miss T,
Mm-hmm.
and everything's going what I think is fine.
Yeah.
I know I didn't do anything wrong. And the sergeant finishes up, and the sergeant comes to me, and she goes, hey, Miss T, she's complaining that her shoulder hurts. I want you to cuff her in the front. And I don't usually disagree with sergeants, but at this one I told her, I said, hey, ma'am, respectful, I don't think that's a good idea.
She's got wrestling experience.
She's got wrestling experience, and I have, a couple of concerns here.
Yeah.
If I cuff her in the front, I have to uncuff her.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
the fight's going to be on. And then once she's cuffed in the front, she's big.
Yeah.
I don't want to, we cuff in the back for a reason.
Yeah.
We predominantly cuff in the front if they're, pregnant or elderly or something like that. And
she's able-bodied.
Able-bodied. Yeah. Oh, yeah, she was. Anyways, I lost that argument.
Yeah.
And we cuffed her in the front.
Oh, okay.
And that was that'll be a mistake that we're going to talk about here in a sec.
Yeah.
And
That didn't go well.
didn't go well. Well, the actual cuffing part went okay.
Yeah.
We had, a bunch of guys in there and left her seated and got the handcuffs around the front. And I really wish I had put her in someone else's car, but I put her in my car. And now it's time to transport her from the hospital to the jail, which is, it's like a mile and a half.
Yeah.
Doesn't take that long to get there. And the whole time,
She's soaked in urine.
she's soaked in urine.
Okay, good.
Yeah. At this point, I don't have any of it on me, which is good.
Not yet.
Yeah. I'm thinking, for a crap situation, I'm still ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
But we start on our journey from the hospital to the jail, and she's ramped it up.
Yeah. She took it to another level.
Yeah. She's screaming. She's loud.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. I've got the windows down not because of the smell. I mean, that was, 70-30 split, but the noise, she's just letting me have it.
Yeah.
And I was a newer officer, and the partition was half plexiglass, half
like
metal
grate,
yeah. Coated in rubber. Yeah. So you could fit M&Ms through there or something.
Oh yeah.
So she's screaming at me, it's loud, and we get about 2 blocks away from the jail, and all of a sudden I smell poop. Real strong. And we're at a red light. And I turned around and I look at her and I said, "Did you just poop?" And you have kids, if you ask a child, "Did you poop?" And they're like,
"Yep."
They don't say anything. That's
at that
yes.
potty train age.
Yeah.
Did you poop?
Yeah. You could assume that They did.
The answer is yes. Yeah.
That was the look she gave me on her face.
Yeah.
So I knew she pooped.
Yeah. Okay.
And I instantly got mad. I was like, what did I do to deserve this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, like I said, we only have like 300 feet to go or 400 feet to go. So we drive, and our jail at this point was in the basement under the courthouse. So
Yeah.
I drive down the ramp and I find a parking spot, and I go to turn around to tell her, like, hey, like, would you stop?
Would you stop pooping?
Yeah. And so, you know how I told you that I was ordered to put her handcuffs in the front.
Yeah, of course.
Well, this granted her access
Yeah.
to parts of her body that she wouldn't have
She
been
wouldn't have from behind.
if she was properly cuffed.
Yeah. Okay.
So as I turned and I look, the plexiglass part is behind my head.
Yeah.
And as I'm turning, I see that not only had she pooped, she had grabbed it out of her pants and smeared it
Mhm.
across my plexiglass and across the grates of my car.
Okay.
So
That explains why you could smell it so easily.
it explains why the smell was so strong. And then it got worse.
Yeah.
So she had already done the smear
Yeah.
on the drive. And as I'm turning around, she's like growling at me, or like, I'm not really sure, but she had a tampon in her hands.
Yeah.
A used one.
I use it, of course.
Yeah. And like I said, she probably wouldn't have been able to access that.
that. Yeah.
Well, the grates were just large enough that she could fit that through the grate. And now she's trying to 245 me with a tampon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh God. And she's just going for it. And I was like, stop, you're embarrassing yourself. And I'll never forget, like, she looks at me
Yeah.
when I said you're
Eye
embarrassing.
contact, yeah.
Yeah. Eye contact, trying to just jam this, torpedo at me. And she looks at me, and it must have got through to her because she like got a little sad and just dropped it.
Oh no.
And now I got to get her out of my car. So, Officer Jake was down there.
Okay.
And I got some help from Officer Jake. And I think the part that really hurt my feelings was Officer Jake walks over, and she was so nice to him. She was so nice. He just asks her, hey, Miss T, can you get out for me? We're going to go to the jail. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So like none of that ever
Pops
happened.
out, follows him to the jail.
Yeah.
He opens the door. She walks in, and there I'm left with the car with shit.
Covered in poop and bloody tampon.
Yeah. Kind of made me mad.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So how'd you get that cleaned up?
Oh, that's almost its own story. So at the jail, they have they call them ILs,
Yeah.
and
Inmate,
I believe
inmate laborers.
Yeah, it stands for inmate labor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, someone had to clean it up.
Yeah.
And I didn't want it to be me.
Of course.
So I go into the jail and ask them, hey, can I get someone out here to clean my car?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. And usually it takes a long time, but this guy, a couple minutes, he comes out and
He's excited to get outside of the jail, get out in the parking lot.
at first he was.
Breathe some fresh air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was excited to get out of the confines of the concrete.
He thought, oh, maybe someone spit in the car or something. Yeah. Just wipe that up real
Maybe they
quick.
spilled Gatorade. Yeah. Nope. And they've got like a little, like a kit with them. They put in like those clear, cheap trash bags. You know what I mean? That are always way too big for the trash can.
Yeah.
So he's got like a spray bottle and rags and stuff in there.
Yeah.
And he comes over, and I have the door open. Like, I'm nice. I'm airing it out for him. I don't want him to just get hit in the face with it. he comes over and he looks in there, and it's like, probably looked like the first time he'd seen a dead body. He just stares at it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, crap. And he just gets to work, but he's gagging the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Yeah. So where was it? Was it just on the window and
the window, the
Mhm.
seat, the grates,
Mhm.
which acted like a grater, like a cheese grater.
Yeah. So did any of that get into the front seat?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah. The headrest is right there.
Yeah.
So I took care of that.
Oh, that's nice of you.
Yeah. Yeah. But all over that. And then, obviously, the back of our cars it's a plastic seat,
Yeah, it's all
but
plastic.
it still has a seat belt,
Yeah.
which she was, of course, wearing.
Mhm.
And so it's shoved into there.
Into the buckle mechanism.
Yep.
Oh, good.
And the nylon and the hardware holding the nylon.
Yeah, and all the little grooves.
Everything. because she was cuffed in the front. She could reach it.
Yeah.
And I don't.
At least write her name, like write Miss T. You know. Like,
Yeah, she didn't. She didn't do
nothing,
anything.
nothing artistic.
Nothing
No
creative.
good pictures. No.
Just rude. Yeah. And this poor guy, he's gagging the whole time.
Yeah.
He's going through rags.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, I think he had to go get another set of rags.
Yeah.
For the car, and it took him a good amount of time.
Yeah, he probably thought about not coming back.
yeah, he should have took off running.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But he didn't.
Just run up the ramp, try to get free.
Yeah, I would have chased him.
No.
Bring another.
You've earned it.
Yeah. 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 But bless his heart, he got it clean.
Yeah.
Like pretty
good for
darn
him.
good.
Good for him.
And I'll never forget I told the deputy that was with him, I was like, man, I wish I could give him like a Snickers or candy bar or something because he deserves it.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, you can. If you go get him something, I'll let you give it to him. And I was like, oh no. No. No, that's okay.
That poor fella.
Yeah. I did feel bad for him.
Yeah.
I did.
Hmm.
He didn't deserve that.
Well,
But
no.
that was the job he signed up to do.
Yeah, you signed up to be an IL.
And just like I signed up to take Miss T.
Sometimes you clean Gatorade, sometimes you clean up Miss T shit. You know?
Yeah.
It's like a roll in the dice.
Yeah.
I wonder if they asked the next time they asked for someone to clean a car, if he jumped up first or if he let one of the others take
That's
it.
something you feel out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something you feel
You
out.
kind of like eyeball who they brought in. You're like, ooh.
I don't. Is it a traffic car? No. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
They should. And I think like that one, I don't know how it works. I assume you work an hour, you get an hour off your sentence. I don't know.
Yeah.
That one should have been like double time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Double time.
Yeah. Maybe like a callback or something. I'm not sure. I do. I mean, I didn't take him a candy bar, but he deserved it.
Yeah.
He deserved
Much more than what he got.
Yep.
Poor fellow.
Yep.
All right. Well, I wanted to talk about pursuits.
Had a few.
Yeah, one or two. You've been involved. Yeah.
Yeah.
Might have been present when that was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a time back in, was it 2020? It was during the COVID nonsense. There was a bunch of fires here in California. The whole state was on fire. And they OSHA mandated that we broadcast every hour what the AQI was, the air quality index, if it was above, I think it was 150. It was like where you get into the extremely unhealthy. And the air quality here at that time was like you couldn't really see across the street.
Mhm.
It was just thick. And we were working midnights. I was working midnights when that started, when that was going on. And so they started broadcasting the AQI every hour, and we would just laugh like, well, what are we supposed to do with this
Yeah. Can we go
information?
home?
Yeah, you can't go home. No,
No.
you just
Just
FYI,
Just know.
the AQI is 193 right now, and
Yeah.
like it's probably going to give you cancer. And like,
Yeah,
okay,
take
cool.
small breaths.
Thanks for letting us know.
Hmm.
So then it became kind of a, I was concerned for the health of officers, of course. So as a supervisor, I thought it'd be good if, when you're involved in a pursuit, there's certain information you're mandated to, or you're required to report. The vehicle description, the direction, the speeds, the offense, if you know what the offense is.
For safety.
Yeah, for safety. Any
Yeah.
information you know about the driver, that kind of stuff. So we can make a determination as to whether or not to continue to pursue or terminate the pursuit. And I thought, well, I mean, what if we have poor air quality that day, and this person crashes or they footbail from the car, and you've got to run and you're going to be breathing this poor air. And I think it'd be really important to know the AQI. So I was trying to push that on the officers. Hey, when you're broadcasting pursuit information, like, let us know the air quality. And I think I put that challenge out to you and your partner one night, and I don't remember, you guys didn't get it out, but there was some conversation about it that occurred, right?
Yeah. So the information was pushed out a briefing like, hey, you get a pursuit. Let's start including this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Very important.
I'm a professional. I'm going to do that.
Very, very much so.
So, there we were. I was riding 2-man again with Officer Nick.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was driving that night.
Yeah.
And
made that mistake before.
yeah, you fool me once.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not letting the nurses see that
Yeah.
twice.
But be smuggling shrimp in the hospital again.
Yeah, was it an earthworm? I think it was summertime too, so I wouldn't have had an excuse.
Oh yeah.
That would have been poor judgment on my part. But I was driving, and so we get the information from our supervisors and briefing, like, hey, let's do this. Let's do it right. They want the air quality. They're going to get it.
Yeah.
All right. So we go out, and Officer Nick and I talked like, all right, we're gonna try to put a bad person in jail today. And we knew that a lot of times bad people like to run from the police. So if we get a pursuit, we're gonna put out the necessary
For safety. You
for
gotta
safety,
get the air quality out there.
for OSHA.
Yeah.
Safety first.
Yeah.
So we clear briefing, and we start just stopping cars, and we go to a certain area of town and looking for some people that need to go to jail.
Yeah.
And everyone's just pulling right over.
Yeah.
They're,
Everyone's up to date on the registration.
Everything.
Valid license.
oh yeah, I have a valid license right here, officer. And I'm like, okay.
What are we?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have guns in the car? Gosh, no.
Yeah.
No. Search it. Nothing.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we made 8 or 10 traffic stops, and everyone just
Yeah.
pulling right over.
Yeah. On the way home from work.
Yes.
Just got done paying the child support.
Yeah. Yeah. Caught up on taxes, everything.
Yeah.
Like, it was amazing. Yeah. Faith in humanity was restored
Okay.
until we saw a couple of guys on mini bikes.
Mini bikes. Yeah.
And we knew, like, they're probably not going to stop.
Yeah.
So we get behind them and turn the lights on, and there's 2 of them, and one of them pulls right over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really?
Mhm.
You're going to do this too? Like, I'm going to give this guy a warning.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
But his buddy was about it.
Yeah.
And he's wearing a helmet, and he looks behind us and gives it all 7.5 horsepower that they had. He just
punches it,
grabs a handful of gas. And so the chase is on.
Yeah.
And we're chasing this mini bike.
It's like the opposite of the bear analogy. Like if you and I are in the woods or running from a bear.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I ain't trying to outrun the bear. I'm just trying to outrun you.
Yeah.
The first one to pull over is a safe one.
Correct. Yeah. And looking back on it, because to my knowledge, I don't think we ever contacted that guy, because why would we?
Yeah. Did he wait at the scene for you to return to
some things transpired and we didn't make it back there. But thinking about it now that you've kind of brought it up, he'd probably played this game before.
Oh yeah.
And,
smart.
And he's like, nope.
Yep.
And it worked. So we're chasing this guy on a mini bike, and he's got a backpack on, and he's riding pretty good, and he's doing his best to lose us
on his mini bike.
On his mini bike. Yeah, speeds of like 48 top. He's going through alleys and streets on the sidewalk and off, but in the name of safety, like, he's not really a danger to the public because he's on a
if he crashes,
52-pound vehicle.
He's not hurting anyone else.
Right, and he's got a helmet on.
Yeah.
So we're chasing him for minutes, and we have a discussion, like,
having a conversation offline. That's not going on the radio.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's put out the AQI, but I'll be honest, we chickened out. Like, a lot of people are listening to this right now. It's not just us two and Sarge that's like put that shit out.
Yeah.
So we don't. But it was dusty. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember it was real dusty.
I mean, the air quality probably wasn't above. It wasn't below 80 or 90. It probably wasn't good.
I don't think it was.
No.
And we ended up.
Hopefully nobody got cancer because of you. But just saying. Go. Sorry. Continue.
Right. Yeah. I'll have to live with that one. So the guy tries to. We're coming through an alley and we're moving, but I'm right on him, and I think he's starting to panic. And he gets out on the street and he makes a couple, sharp lefts, sharp rights on the street, but he's staying on the street now. I don't think he liked the alley. And we're coming down the street, and it's an unprotected intersection, so there's no stop signs. So you're going to have a real wide intersection, and he tries to take it too sharp and just washes out. So the mini bike continues on the path it was going, and he's kind of and now we have to run because he hasn't given up yet.
Yeah,
he takes off running. So Nick and I dismount the vehicle, and start running. And Officer Nick's faster than me, so he's in the front. Yeah. And now I'm wishing I should put out the AQI because
now you're breathing hard.
Our lungs are hurting.
Oh yeah,
on fire. The cavalry's coming. I can hear them, off in the distance, which, just a little side note, that might be my favorite part of the job
Yeah.
is a quiet night, dudes running from you
And
and
you can
your
hear it
buddies
coming.
are getting
Yeah.
louder. But, Officer Nick's, closing on the guy, and, our car was kind of sideways, and Officer Nick was able to beeline it. I had to go around some cars on foot.
That's an excuse, but okay.
Yeah, I'm not known for my. I'm not like a leopard,
Yeah.
And I know, like, if we're gonna catch this guy, it's gonna be Officer Nick.
Yeah.
he's gonna catch.
You
this
can
guy.
talk on the radio for him.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like someone's got to do it.
We all have our skills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Officer Nick is quick.
Yeah.
So I have to go around this car, and I briefly lose sight of Officer Nick. Well, I have to complete the complicated task of stepping off a curb, and I just eat shit.
Yeah, I mean, you're not a gymnast. Come
No.
on.
Yeah, absolutely not. I'm not even wearing tights.
Yeah.
So I go down, and I tumble just like the guy did.
Yeah.
And if you watch my body camera, it's kind of funny. I start chuckling, and I stand up, and there's just my luck right where I go down. There's a family in the front yard, of course, having a barbecue. And they express some concern. Oh, dang. Hey, are you all right? I'm laughing like, I just ate shit.
Yeah.
And then I hear Officer Nick taking the guy into custody. So there's some very distinct sounds I hear. Yeah. And I look up, and he's on the ground. I'm like, oh, shit, I still have a job to do.
Yeah.
I had to run back to the car and drive over there and get the guy into custody. But yeah, I think professionalism is important. We should have put out the AQI.
You should have, yeah. Maybe you wouldn't have fallen.
That's true. If I would have been heads up, maybe I didn't see the curb because the air was so thick.
It was so thick, and you were just having such a hard time breathing.
Yeah. But we got him.
Good.
We got him. He went to jail. And another fun part of the job is when you get to call a big ass tow truck and put a tiny little mini bike on the back. Like that really, sends a message to the neighborhood.
You probably could just put it in your back seat.
Probably could have, but resources.
Yeah. That's a vehicle.
Lift with your legs.
Yeah.
They have a winch. So just drag the thing up there. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
It's good. He almost got away, but
40-mile-an-hour pursuit.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up. You got anything else you want to talk to us about?
Give me about a year or two more, and
I'm sure there's going to be. I'm sure there's more out there.
There's some stories in the works, but we're going to let the cases work their way through.
Yeah.
The magical kingdom, and once they're done, we'll talk about them.
Good. All right. Well, thanks for coming out and talking to us. For everybody that's out there listening, thanks for listening, and stay frosty.